Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian from Monaco Auto Design, and today I am showing you the process of how I rendered a off-road or all-terrain version of the Aventador. So given the release of the Huracan Sterrato, I wanted to see what that idea could look like on the Aventador. So here's kind of my process, and I'm gonna go through how I did everything as far as rendering it out and the way that I was able to do it via Photoshop. Stay tuned for the end for the final result. So here we go. All right, so the first thing you'll notice, obviously, right off the bat, I lifted the car, I masked it, raised it about maybe 20 or 30 pixels, and now I'm filling in the areas behind, masking out the wheels from the Sterrato photo. One thing that's super important to keep in mind is if you're going to want to do something similar to this, you're going to want to find a donor photo that is at a similar angle. So everything kind of lines up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this photo of the Aventador and one of the photos of the Sterrato seem to line up pretty good. So that's how I was able to make this pretty turnkey as far as whipping this up really quick. So here I am just adding the wheels. You'll notice also that the color grading is completely off, but there are some remedies for that, using color balance, desaturating the color out of the original photos, or the original parts rather, and then adding back the color hue overlay to that part. So that's what you see me doing here, playing with some levels properties. So one thing to keep in mind, one thing to pay attention to if you're really trying to get a deeper sense as to what I'm doing, is to pay attention to the layers panel. You'll notice that I use a lot of properties such as levels and hue saturation and layer masks. They're very important. If you've watched any of my previous videos, layer masks are super duper important. So yeah, highly recommend. So here we are, we're just kind of color balancing the wheels, making sure they look good. You'll notice that I took the color balance out of the center wheel, the center cover, the wheel cap, if you will, to get the color back. All right, so now what we're doing here is adding the roof rails. And one thing that I noticed right away when I tried to paste them in here is they didn't have enough arc to them. So simply, I just added a little bit of arc to those, rotated them, and then kind of fit them into place. So obviously they need two, so I just kind of duplicated that, put it behind, made sure I carried over my color balance properties, and I masked that off as well to make sure that it looked like it tucked behind the driver's side on the back there. Here's just a little bit of blending in with the lighting, because there's that hot spot right on the wall there that's got some light shining through. All right, what are we doing next? All right, cool. Looks like we're doing the skirt. So I figured that skirt wouldn't have made it over to the all-terrain version of the Aventador. There was a little bit of the skirt left over there, so I stamped that out really quick. And so now I'm grabbing the off-road style skirt from the Sterrato, which has these really cool off-road type of ribs in them, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought about recreating this with an airbrush, but it just seemed a little bit easier to use this. So you see me doing that now. If you notice on the right hand side in my layers panel over there, I'm duplicating for most of the parts, I'm duplicating the property. So all I have to do is just drag it into the new group and clip it to that new layer. That way it carries over the color balance and the color grading to that part as well. So there's no duplicative work. It's just kind of more streamlined. All right, so moving on to the roof scoop. One thing that I noticed about this roof scoop, if you just were to take it one-to-one from that picture and drop it into here, is that there wouldn't be necessarily a way to have that go into the engine based on this current design, but it at least looks cool and it gets the point across. All right, what are we moving on to next? Rear diffuser. All right, so again, this is kind of rinse and repeat for each part, but just really making sure that the perspectives are matched up as close as possible. Like I said earlier, having the photo be very close in perspective to your base photo that you're adding the things to or the parts to is super helpful. So I'm just getting rid of a bit of the rear diffuser was poking through from the original photo, so I blacked that out. I thought to keep this new diffuser kind of as a floating piece, so that's why it kind of like overlaps on the left-hand side of the driver's side there. Just getting rid of some of that extra color for the diffuser. All right, so this is probably the most fun part, at least the most fun for me. So I was gonna just copy the fender from the Sterrato, just like I had been doing with the other parts, but I was like, oh, maybe it'd be better if I just airbrush these so I have full control over what they looked like, and they would just fit a little bit better. So starting off with a dark color that I grabbed from the eye picker as a base, and then just adding in the dimension to it as well. So, and then also making sure that it looks like it's poking out from the fender. What I see a lot of times is when people add wide bodies to cars is that they just kind of paste them on top of the fenders and they don't widen them, so it kind of looks like a sticker versus something that has some dimension to it. So this is really a mixture of utilizing, as you're seeing here, like bevel and emboss properties, outer glow to give it a little bit of shadow. You can use drop shadow, but there's reasons for that. And then also adding in this shadow, because if you're thinking about how the light was hitting the car and that piece, how it would be sticking out, it would probably create some sort of shadow like that. So that's why I added that. Now I'm just adding some simple rivets. One way to do that easily is to just create a circle and add a bevel and emboss property and match the lighting. So these look like indents to the fenders, and then just kind of place them and even them out as much as you can spacing wise. So it's essentially the same exact process for the front fender. As you can see, I'm making it physically wider, and then I'm filling in the back so you don't see the original fender, making this little shadow area as it's poking out. Again, using bevel and emboss properties, a little bit of outer glow. It makes it super easy to make things, just to give them a little bit more balanced light and reflection. A little bit more color grading, and then again going back into the layers properties, adding some bevel and emboss, making sure that they're kind of even, and shrinking them as they get further away from the camera, just thinking in terms of the perspective. Then adding a little shadow to that, and then I'm pretty sure that's where I land. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I really enjoyed putting this together. It was super fun. I really think it could be interesting to see an Aventador all-terrain version, kind of like what they did with the Sterrato, but something a little bit more hardcore. Yeah, let me know if you guys prefer these kind of more long-form, explained kind of videos. I really like doing them, and I'm happy to kind of like let you in on a few of my secrets as to how I do some things. If you haven't already, do give this video a like, throw a comment below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace!